See, in daily life, we make use of a lot of sentences to explain the state of a system. Say, for example, I am pulling this boy with a force, correct, with a force. I am pulling this boy with a force and I am creating dash in this particular wire. Tell. Tension, correct. See, in order to explain the state of a system, we are making use of certain words, correct. What was the word in first case? Force. Second case? Tension. Say, I am walking along a straight line with certain velocity, correct. See, you only said velocity, correct. Say, if I consider two persons, one is thin, another is stout. The thin person has got less mass and stout person has more. See, you are using the word called mass. Are you mad? If you do something which is unusual, this question will be asked. Are you mad? In order to explain the state of a system, correct? What a beautiful girl she is. Don't see? In order to explain the state of a system, we make use of different words, correct? But all these terms what we have used, they are not alike. Say, for example, madness, you can't express in terms of numerical value. The beauty you can't express in terms of numerical value. 150 beauty, what is that? There is no meaning in assigning a numerical value for that, correct? I am pulling this boy with a force of 10. See, there is meaning in expressing the numerical there. The thin person has got 40 kg mass and the stout person has got 90 kg mass. We are making use of a numerical value there. We are assigning a numerical value for such word called mass, correct? Accordingly, the words which are using to explain the state of a system and we assign a numerical value, such words are called as quantities. And the words which are used to explain the state of a system where you can't assign a numerical value, it is called as attribute. What is it called? Attribute. Madness, beauty, these are all attributes. You can't assign a numerical value for that. Whereas mass, length, time, acceleration, velocity, then force, surface tension, these are all the terms which can be assigned with a numerical value, and such terms are called as quantities. You can assign a numerical value for such terms. And if you use certain words, certain terms which can be assigned with the numerical values called quantities to explain the state of a physical system, they are called as physical quantities. Whatever I have quoted till now, length, mass, time, temperature, acceleration, force, surface tension, electric intensity, electric potential, magnetic flux density, these are all physical quantities. You understood? But the nature of the physical quantity will not be same for all the physical quantities. Say one example, in a weighing pan, you keep a mass of 5 kg, another mass of 3 kg you keep it in the same weighing pan. What is the total mass? 8. Another mass of 2 kg, another mass of 5 kg, another mass of 10 kg. Remove 10 kg mass, remove 3 kg mass, remove 2 kg mass, and goes on. You are very fluent in adding and subtracting that, correct? Does it make any sense? In a weighing pan, if I say like this, in a weighing pan, there is a mass of 5 kg, another mass of 3 kg is kept in the same weighing pan, which makes an angle of 22 degree with respect to the first mass. Does it make any sense? That's what. Some of the physical quantities, there is no meaning in specifying the direction. you need to specify only the magnitude. Such physical quantities are called scalars. Scalars are the physical quantities where there is meaning only in expressing its magnitude, there is no meaning in expressing the direction. Another example, there is a force of 10 Newton, listen, acting on a particle. Another force of 8 Newton is acting on the same particle. What is the total force? Tell. A force of 10 Newton is acting on a particle, another force of 8 Newton is acting on the same particle. What is the total force? Why don't you tell the answer? You feel that data is incomplete? What else you need? Direction. As if you will tell it very fluently. If I give the direction, I will give. There is a force of 10 Newton acting on a particle, this is a particle, okay, 10 Newton. Another force of 8 Newton is acting on the same particle, which makes an angle of 31 degree 28 minutes. What is the total force? This is what you are looking for, no? Earlier I said 10 Newton and 8 Newton are acting on the same particle. What is the total force? You were striving for some more data called direction. I gave the direction, no? Now you tell, what is the total force on this particular particle? Anybody? Tell, no? What is the total force? At least you tell. Is it fair if I use the word total? What I should have used? Yes? Resultant force, okay. At least that much idea you have. The correct appropriate word there is nothing but resultant. Resultant force. Can you give the resultant force answer? Anybody? Root of 10 square plus 8 square plus 2 into 10 into 8 into cos 31 degree 28 minutes. You should have told this. Answer means it should not be the simplified answer. You could have told this straight away. Such physical quantities where there is no meaning if you don't specify the direction, such physical quantities are called as vectors. You have to specify the magnitude as well as direction both. So, example for vector is nothing but force, acceleration, displacement, electric intensity. Obviously, electric intensity will be a vector quantity. Tell me why? Electric intensity, how do you define? Electric intensity is defined as the force experienced by unit positive charge placed at that point. Correct? No? It is defined as a force experienced. Force is a vector quantity. Electric intensity is also a vector quantity. Magnetic field strength, B. You have taken BH is equal to 3.14 into 10 to the power of minus 4 Tesla. It is a vector quantity which has got both magnitude as well as direction. Vectors topic is very, it is an important tool. It is a very sharp but small tool. If you know it, I was telling the other day, if you know calculus very well in pre-university level and if you know vectors very well, then engineering is 60% done right now. Remaining 40% you have to join and complete. To that extent it is important. And most of the analysis in the advanced study means the competitive exams, especially JEE Mains and JEE Advanced, especially in physics, it goes by vector study, vector approach. You take the simple example, you may recall there is a circular coil carrying current containing n turns, mean radius r, and this is the center of the coil. There is a point P which is at a distance of x from the given point from the center of the coil. You are supposed to find what is a magnetic field at the at a point on the axis of the coil which is at a distance of x from the center of the coil. You just recall, is it over? Okay. What you have done, how you have derived, finally you got an expression B is equal to mu naught by 4 pi epsilon 4 pi into 2 pi n r square I divided by r square plus x square whole to the power of 3 by 2. Correct, no? See, not bad. Expression for magnetic field at a point on the axis of a circular coil carrying current like this. This derivation, while doing very important derivation, What you have done is, instead of considering n turns at a time, you consider one turn of the coil, and this one turn is imagined to be made up of number of diametrically opposite current elements, each of length dl, correct no? dl here and dl here, correct no? Due to this current element of length dl, the magnetic field is like this. This is given by Laplace, correct? And due to this current element, whatever is the magnetic field here, that is perpendicular, this is perpendicular, this is perpendicular, dB. And this is alpha and this is alpha, you may recall, correct? And this is perpendicular by symmetry of geometry. If it is alpha, 90 minus alpha, this is also alpha, this is also alpha. Then dB is resolved into dB sin alpha, no, dB cos alpha, and this is dB sin alpha. And this one also dB cos alpha, and this one dB sin alpha, correct no? dB cos alpha cancels, dB sin alpha, 2 dB sin alpha, correct no? And this is due to one turn, due to n turn multiply by n, simplify, finally you will get that answer, correct? Not only this, you have come across 4 charges Q, 2Q, 3Q, 4Q are placed at the corners of a square of side something 0.1 meter. The resultant electric intensity at the center of the square is so much, they have given. What is the value of Q, they are asking, correct? Here, in order to identify the electric intensity, you need to imagine that you have kept a unit positive charge. This is EA, correct? And this is EB, correct no? And this is EC, EC is here, this is EC, and this is ED, correct? And ED is bigger. So finally you are getting this is ED minus EB, this one, and this is EC is more, and this is EC minus EA, EC minus EA, correct, EA. And resultant they have given, resultant is given there. Entire analysis is based on vector analysis, vector concept. You must know how to resolve, how to find the resultant. Resolve means instead of 1, 2 mutually perpendicular. If it is a vector acting at a point in a plane. If it is a vector acting at a point in space, then 3 mutually perpendicular. Instead of 1, 2 mutually perpendicular. That is called as resolving. Instead of 2 mutually perpendicular, or instead of 2 you consider 1. That is called as resultant. Correct? No. This comes under vector analysis. So in mathematics what you have is vector algebra, algebra of vectors. Algebra of vectors means how to add, how to subtract, how to multiply 2 vectors, how to add 2 vectors, how to subtract 2 vectors, how to have the combination of these. Division between vectors is not defined. One vector divided by another vector, that is not at all defined. How to multiply a vector by a scalar. These are all the things which we are going to learn in vector algebra. Okay? Say if at all you are going to study, it is quite interesting and very important, I said, then it is worth learning, you see. What is that? A vector is denoted geometrically by an arrow. Say arrow has got only 3 parts, the tail, head and the body. This is vector A. Tail, head and the body. This is called vector A. And magnitude of the vector A is equal to length AB. Geometrically, if you represent a vector by an arrow, then the length of the arrow represents magnitude of the vector. Say for example, if it is 5 Newton force, 10 Newton force will have a length double than this. 15 Newton force will have a length 3 times this. This is 15 Newton force. You understood? Okay. At this stage, we will see what do you mean by equal vectors. As far as vector is concerned, you have got 2 characteristics of a vector. One is magnitude, another is direction. Okay. Here there is one vector. This is A, B, vector A. And this is another vector, A dash, B dash. This is vector B. Correct? Okay. Length AB is equal to, you find that length AB is equal to length A dash B dash. Length A dash B dash. Therefore, magnitude of vector A is equal to magnitude of length of an arrow represents magnitude of the vector, correct? If a vector is represented by an arrow, length of the arrow represents magnitude of the vector. Magnitude of A is equal to magnitude of B. Further, you find that vector arrow AB and arrow A dash B dash are heading towards same direction. Just telling parallel is not enough. Say this arrow and this arrow are parallel, but they are not heading towards same direction. You understood what I said? But here these two arrows are heading towards same direction. If they are heading towards same direction, the meaning is their directions are same. Magnitudes are equal, directions are same. Direction equal alla, directions are same. Magnitudes are equal, directions are same. Therefore, you can come to the conclusion that those two vectors A and B are equal vectors. What do you mean by equal vectors? Two vectors are said to be equal if they have got equal magnitude and same direction. Understood? Equal magnitude and same direction. Okay. Now we will see what do you mean by zero vector or null vector. Zero vector or null vector is a vector whose magnitude is 0. Magnitude of a vector represents what? Length of the arrow. If the magnitude is 0, length of the arrow is 0, how do you represent the vector? Tell no. Yes, how do you represent? Dot. Correct? Null vector is denoted by a dot because it should not have any length. Now you may ask one question, sir, how do you write a dot and say that it is a vector? May not be. Geometrically it may not be possible to argue, but it is true because it should not have any length. If it has got certain length, the meaning is it has got certain magnitude. If it has certain magnitude, the meaning is it is not a null vector, because definition of null vector or zero vector is a vector whose magnitude is 0. Correct? Okay. The concept is very much needed. Vector A, if I add two vectors, what you are getting, you tell me? If I add two vectors, what you will get? Vector. If I subtract two vectors, vector. Vector A plus B is something. Vector A plus vector A is equal to 2 times vector A. Vector A minus vector A. Come on. Tell no. 0 Allah, 0 vector. Very important. Many students in one particular board exam, they have written 0 and they got 0. Those who are expecting 100, they got 99. Answer, they have got 0. 1 mark question, for which they got 0. Vector A minus vector A is not just 0. It is 0 vector. Very important. If you subtract two vectors, what are you getting? A vector. So, just writing 0 will not indicate that it is 0 vector. Vector A minus vector A is 0 vector. You have to be very careful. A vector of 10 Newton, imagine. 10 Newton. A 10 Newton vector, 10 Newton force, it can be written as 10 times 1 Newton. 10 Newton is 10 times 1 Newton. An acceleration of 5 meter per second square is 5 times 1 meter per second square. And a velocity of 3 meter per second, I can write it as 3 times 1 meter per second. See? In general, any vector can be written as its magnitude times its unit vector. All unit vectors are denoted by cap. Main vectors are denoted by arrow at the top of the alphabet, and unit vector is denoted by a cap on the top of the alphabet. Say, what do you mean by unit vector? First of all, unit vector is a vector whose magnitude is unity. Say, A cap is a unit vector in the direction of vector A. So, the magnitude of A cap is 1. B cap is a unit vector in the direction of vector B. Magnitude of B cap is 1. U cap is a unit vector. Magnitude of U cap is 1. See, the space is characterized by 3-dimensional system. X axis, Y axis and Z axis. A plane is characterized by 2-dimensional system. X axis, Y axis, for example. Space is characterized by 3-dimensional system. X axis, Y axis, Z axis. The unit vector along X axis is always standardized as I cap. Unit vector along Y axis is J cap. Unit vector along Z axis is K cap. So that magnitude of I cap is equal to 1, magnitude of j cap is equal to 1, magnitude of k cap is equal to 1. Unit vector is a vector whose magnitude is unity. Okay. I was telling any vector can be written as its magnitude times its unit vector. This is in general, these are all examples. 10 Newton is 10 times 1 Newton, 5 meter per second square is 5 times 1 meter per second square. These are all examples and this is in general. You can write A cap is equal to vector A divided by magnitude of vector A. This is the expression for unit vector in the direction of vector A or parallel to vector A. Say this is vector A and you want to know what is A cap. A cap can be parallel to vector A or a vector in the direction of vector A. How do you give the unit vector in the direction of vector B? B cap is equal to, come on, vector B divided by its magnitude. How do you give a unit vector in the direction of vector C? C cap is equal to vector C divided by its magnitude. How do you give a unit vector in the direction of vector A plus B plus C? U cap is equal to, what did I ask? How do you give a unit vector in the direction of vector A plus B plus C? How do you give? Vector A plus B plus C divided by its magnitude. You understood? Okay. This is x axis, y axis and z axis. X axis, y axis, z axis. Imagine there is a vector x here, x, and this is vector y and this is vector z. Vector z. Okay? And I cap along x axis, you know, j cap along y axis and k cap along z axis. Imagine this is O, this is P, this is Q, this is R. Vector OP is equal to vector x. That is equal to vector x is equal to magnitude of vector x into I cap. This is according to which concept you tell me? Just now I was explaining. Any vector can be written as its magnitude times its unit vector. Did I say that here? Any vector can be written as its magnitude times its unit vector. What is unit vector in the direction of vector x? I cap. Okay. So I will take this length OP, you know, I will take it as x. That is equal to x into I cap. Correct? No? Vector OQ is equal to, come on, tell me, this is y, this is z, this length is y. Is equal to vector y is equal to magnitude of vector y into j cap. Magnitude of vector y is nothing but y into j cap. And OR is equal to vector z, that is equal to magnitude of vector z into k cap, that is equal to z into k cap. Is it okay? You come across xi, yj, zk. How do you get that? You must know. That is originated from the basic concept that any vector can be written as its magnitude times its unit vector. You have examples here. This is a general representation. This is the continuation of this. Understood? Now we will see how to add two vectors, addition of two vectors. Addition of two vectors. You can't add two vectors like what you have added, scalars. Scalars do not have any direction, but vectors have got magnitude as well as direction. So you have to go for certain procedure of adding. How to add that, we will see. Two vectors have to be added. Say this is vector A and this is vector B. These are the two vectors which are acting at a point. You understood? There is a law called law of triangle of vectors. For adding two vectors acting at a point, we have a certain law called law of triangle of vectors. Law of triangle of vectors states that, or law of parallelogram of vectors, that is also okay. That is same. Law of triangle of vectors says that if two vectors acting at a point, if at all they have to be added, if they can be represented by two consecutive sides of a triangle taken in order. See, this is vector A. Vector B, instead of writing here, I will write it here. Is it okay? Now, under which concept it is okay, you tell me? By the concept of equal vectors, we can shift it. How do you say equal vector concept? This length is equal to this length and they are heading towards same direction. So instead of writing it here, I have written here. Is it okay? Correct? No. If it is B, it has to be B because magnitudes are equal, directions are same. Law of triangle of vector says that two vectors which are to be added, if they can be represented by two consecutive sides of a triangle taken in order, one after the other. Say this one vector is over, next vector started and this end of the second vector. If two vectors which are to be added are represented by two consecutive sides of a triangle taken in order, then the third side of the triangle will represent the sum of or the addition of or the total of or the resultant of given two vectors. This is A plus B. If I add two vectors, what do you get? A vector again. Vector again means it is an arrow. So it has got magnitude as well as direction. Correct? No. Magnitude is given by length of the third side. Direction is in such a way that the tail of the resultant vector coincides with the tail of the first vector, head of the resultant vector coincides with the head of the second vector. Correct? No. So clubbing all these things, how do you state law of triangle of vectors? If two vectors which are to be added are represented by two consecutive sides of a triangle taken in order, then the third side of the triangle will represent the resultant of given two vectors such that tail of the resultant vector coincides with the tail of the first vector and head of the resultant vector coincides with head of the second vector. Simple English. If two vectors which are to be added are represented by two consecutive sides of a triangle taken in order, then the third side of the triangle will represent resultant of given two vector such that tail of the resultant vector coincides with tail of the first vector, head of the resultant vector coincides with head of the second vector. Understood? Such a lengthy sentence you see, but simple. If two vectors which are to be added are represented by two consecutive sides of a triangle taken in order, then the third side of the triangle will represent resultant of given two vectors such that the tail of the resultant vector coincides with the tail of the first vector and the head of the second head of the resultant vector coincides with the head of the second vector. Too lengthy, but if you digest this, you can frame that sentence. Not at all difficult. Sensibly. But what many words cannot explain, action can explain. Many words cannot explain, one action can explain. Correct? If I say, what is the meaning of that? Are you mad? Correct? I did not use any words there. Correct? Similarly here also, what is law of triangle of vectors? Say, here you can make out this plus this equals this. That is law of triangle of vectors. What is that? Come on. This plus this. And the same consecutive sides, no? Same hand. This plus this is equal to this. Show in action. Come on, let me see. How do you show? There is no question of prestige involved in that. When you were in nursery, you know, or LKG, UKG, that time you were taught with nursery rhymes. How? Twinkle, twinkle, little star. No, with proper action. Twinkle, twinkle, little star. Correct? No. See, with the action, you see. Similarly, London Bridge is falling down, falling down. Correct? No. Yes? If you can do the action there so that you can remember forever and you can show it off with others. Come on, tell one nursery rhyme. Twinkle, twinkle. See, like that you will start with the action. It is catchy. Why not this? What is law of triangle of vectors? Come on. This plus this equals this. Correct? No, we do. See, this plus this is in one hand, is equal to this. Correct? No? 1, 2, 3, 4. This plus this equals this. How is that? Let me see. Come on. This plus this equals this. Correct? No. That's a TV effect. This. reverb. I hope you understood. That's what. In case in your college, what is law of triangle of vectors? If they ask in the class, who will tell that if two vectors which are to be added are represented by two consecutive sides of a triangle taken in order, then the third side of the triangle will represent resultant of given two vectors, such that tail of the resultant vector coincides with the tail of the first vector and head of the resultant vector coincides with the head of the second vector. What is law of triangle of vectors? Can you explain? 1, 2, 3, 4. This plus this equals this. Finished. In college, if they ask, what is law of triangle of vectors? If we say, sir, this plus this equals this. Don't worry, you are right. What is that? The meaning of that is, if two vectors acting at a point are represented by like that. They must be shocked to listen to the stunning answer. Correct? This is a shortcut method. Okay, how to remember? I will show it to you in the application later, and how it will be very handy. This plus this equals this. Okay, law of triangle of vectors. Now we'll see what do you mean by subtraction of vectors. Subtraction of vectors, two vectors. Subtraction is a particular case of addition. A minus B is equal to A plus minus B. A minus B is A plus minus B. Addition of what? A and minus B. You understood? Addition of A and minus B. Say how to go ahead. A and this is B. But we want addition of A and minus B. If that is B, this is minus B. Correct? No. Now what you have got to add? You tell me. A and minus B. If two vectors which are to be added are represented by two consecutive sides of a triangle taken in order, this plus this equals this. Correct? No. Two consecutive sides. Let me see. Come on. This plus this equals this. Correct? Correct? No. Okay. This is nothing but A plus minus B or A minus B. I hope you got the idea. Correct? Subtraction of two vectors. Like this it goes. How do you go ahead with the resultant of two vectors, or not like that? Okay. You consider resolving a vector. Of course, it is an analysis which contains resolving a vector acting at a point in space along three mutually perpendicular directions and how to find the resultant. Obviously, given a vector, you can consider its components, or given its components, you can find the resultant. If you know resolving, how is it? Resolving is instead of 1, 2 or 3. Correct? Finding the resultant means instead of 2 or 3, 1. Correct? No, that is called as finding out the resultant. Now, imagine a vector acting at a point in space, x-axis, y-axis, and this is z-axis. I said space is characterized by 3 dimensions. This is a space, this is space, you see, and this is a point in space. Correct? It is characterized by, this space is characterized by x-axis, y-axis and z-axis. The board is a plane, it is characterized by 2 dimensions, x-axis and y-axis. Space is characterized by 3 dimensions, 3 coordinate system, x-axis, y-axis and z-axis. Okay. Imagine you have a vector acting at this point, this is vector A, this is O, this is A. Okay. This is a vector acting at a point in space, vector A. Now, effect of this vector exists along 3 mutually perpendicular directions. Correct? No. How you know how to resolve a vector acting at a point in plane? That we already seen in the application, see the other time. Resolving a vector along 2 mutually perpendicular directions. Correct? Similarly, Here it is 3-dimensional system, therefore it can be resolved along 3 mutually perpendicular directions: x axis, y axis, x component, y component and z component. You understood? Such that A is equal to vector sum of x, y and z. The meaning of this is, if I add x, y, z, you will get A. Or you can consider the effect of vector A along 3 mutually perpendicular directions. Along x axis it is capital X, vector x, and along y axis vector y, along z axis vector z. Correct? The meaning of this is, A is a given vector, vector x, vector y, vector z are its components, or vector x, vector y, vector z are components and A is a resultant of those. Correct? Effect of a vector acting at a point in space can be considered along 3 mutually perpendicular directions. 3 mutually perpendicular directions are x axis, y axis and z axis. Okay. The vector along x axis is, unit vector along x axis is I cap, and unit vector along y axis is how much, you tell me? J cap, and unit vector along z axis is always k cap, standardized. I cap, j cap, k cap. Okay. This length, you know, this is OP, OQ and OR. This length is x, this length is y and this length is z. You understood? Now, you know that vector x, vector y, vector z are the components of vector A. What did I say? Vector x, vector y and vector z are components of vector A, or A is the resultant of vector x, vector y and vector z. A is a resultant. Okay. A is the what? Resultant of vector x, vector y and vector z. You must know. And you have to prove it geometrically how it goes. By the concept of vector addition, you have to prove that vector A is a vector sum of its components, vector x, vector y and vector z. Definitely vector x is equal to x into I cap, you know, that I already explained earlier. Vector x is its magnitude times its unit vector. Vector y is its magnitude times its unit vector. Vector z is its magnitude times its unit vector. Correct? No. xi plus yj plus xi, yj, zk. You substitute in one. Substitute in one. What are you getting? A is equal to xi, come on, yj plus zk. You have come across this in physics. Vector A is equal to xi plus yj plus zk. But how do you get that? You are not knowing. Now you know. The meaning of this is, effect of this vector along x axis is this much xi, effect of that vector along y axis is yj, effect of that vector A along z axis is zk. This is a force, component of the force along x axis, component along y axis, component along z axis. Do you understand? And you know that magnitude of vector A is equal to root of x square plus y square plus z square. Correct? No? But how do you get that? You don't know. You have to find it out now. How vector magnitude of vector A is root of x square plus y square plus z square. We will find it out. Very interesting. Now, you have to prove that vector x plus vector y plus vector z. If you add these three vectors, you are getting vector A. You have to prove it. Because you started with the concept that a vector A acting at a point in space. Effect of that vector along x axis is vector x, along y axis is y, and along z axis is vector z. Now converse you have to prove. What is that? Resultant of vector x, vector y, vector z is vector A. How do you prove it? Let us see. How do you prove it? So you have got to add x, y, you have got to prove that x, I will write it here, vector x plus vector y plus vector z is equal to vector A, you have got to prove. If you combine the components together, finally you are getting the vector A. You have to prove it. How do you prove it? What you do is, three vectors you have got to add. But you don't know how to find the resultant of three vectors acting at a point. But you know how to find the resultant of two vectors acting at a point. That time you said no, root of p square plus something you said. Correct? No. And If at all you have to add vectors, you have law of triangle of vectors. Law of triangle of vectors is meant for adding two vectors acting at a point. Correct, no? Law of triangle of vectors, how it starts? If two vectors acting at a point, if at all they have to be added, you can add two vectors at a time in law of triangle of vectors, correct? But we have got three vectors here, x, y and z. What you can do is, you take any two, add them. If add two vectors, what you will get? You will get single vector. That vector and left out vector, you add again. You have to get vector A. Otherwise, our concept will be wrong. Correct, no? Whether we get it or not, we will see. What we will do is, we will add x and z first. Y will be left out, no? You keep it pending, we will add it later. X and z you have got to add. So, z is here, I can write z here as well. Is it okay? Correct, no? Yes. Say this is vector z, is it okay? How can you write like that? Yes, this and this are equal length. Same direction. So, this is vector, what is the angle between this and this? This is vector x, this is x axis, this is z axis. They are perpendicular to each other. I can't write that on the board perpendicular. Tell me why? Because I am daring to write three-dimensional figures on the two-dimensional board. You require some adjustments. Correct? Okay. This is x axis, this is z axis. No. What is the angle between vector x and vector z? You tell me. 90 degree. Correct. Exactly. This is 90 degree. What is this length? X. Small x. What is this length? What is this length? Z. Okay. Correct? Okay. Vector addition, we will go ahead with vector addition. If two vectors, which are to be added now? Vector x and vector z are to be added. Correct? If two vectors which are to be added are represented by two consecutive sides of a triangle, this plus this equals this. Has to be. Okay. Come on. This plus this equals this. So, therefore, you find that this is nothing but vector z. Correct? No? Now, what is this? You tell me. Vector x plus vector z. Do you understand? Vector x plus vector z. Yes? What is this length? What is this length? What is the angle between these two? 90. So, it is a right angle triangle. Do you agree? Yes. What is the hypotenuse length? You tell me. Come on. Root of x square plus z square. Finished. Either length is root of x, either length x, either z. What is this length? Root of x square plus z square. Now, what are you doing? We are in the process of adding x, y and z, and we have to prove that it is vector A. Correct? No, you have to prove that it is vector A. I have added x and z. X and z I added, and I got one vector. What is that? X plus z. Now, what is left out there? Y. So, what we will do is, instead of writing y there, I will write it here. Is it okay? Now, you may ask one question, sir, this length is less, this length. No, it is of same length, book. Say, it is a XOZ plane it is. Correct? No, this is XOZ plane. And this is vector x plus z. X plus z, this one, x plus z, idu, x plus z. And this is vector y. Correct? No, vector y. Instead of writing vector y there, I will write it here. Is it okay? You can shift it, no? Yes. By concept of equal vectors, you can shift it. That's what I have done. Instead of writing it here, I have written here vector y here. Actually, they have got same length, but I have tilted this entire XOZ plane, no? For our convenience, so that everybody can see. Correct? That's why this line looks like having more length. But this length and this length are same. Do you understand? Okay, what is the angle between x plus z and y? Tell no? 90 degree, correct, exactly. See how it goes. Angle between these two is equal to how much, you tell me? 90 degree. What is this length? What is this length? Y. Correct? No? Yes? Now, what are you doing? We are in the process of adding x, y and z, and we have to prove that it is equal to vector A. Correct? What you did? X and z you added. You got one vector. What is that? X plus z. What was pending to add? Y. We have done that also now. This is x plus z. This is y. Correct? No, this is vector y. Correct? This is x plus z. This is y. See here. This plus this equals this. Okay. Come on. This plus this equals this. So obviously this vector will be what you tell me? This andre x plus z plus, come on, what is that? Y is equal to vector A. Correct? No. Therefore vector A is equal to how much you tell me? X plus y plus z. Am I right? Correct? No. Yes. Now you want to know what is the magnitude of vector A. Magnitude of vector A is something but length OA. Correct? No. Magnitude of vector A is length OA. Length OA is equal to square. Okay, see here. What is this length? You tell me. Root of x square plus z square. What is this length? Y. What is the angle between this and this? 90 degree. So it's a right angled triangle. Do you agree? Yes. What is this length? Root I. What is this length? So this length is as good as hypotenuse. How do you give that? Root of this square plus this square. Correct? No. What is this square? Root of x square plus what is that? Root of x square plus z square, the whole square plus y square. That's equal to root of, come on, x square plus y square plus z square. Thus, if vector A is equal to xi plus yj plus zk, then tell me magnitude of vector A is equal to, come on, root of x square plus y square plus z square. Do you understand? Very important. This you are knowing, but how did you get? You are not knowing. I hope now it is clear. Correct? We will take up example. Example 1. If A is equal to 2i minus j plus 2k, okay, then magnitude of vector A is equal to root of, come on, 4 plus 1 plus 4. X square, 2 square, y square, minus 1 whole square, plus 2 square, 4, 4 plus 4, 8, 8 plus 1, 9, square root of 9, 3. Magnitude is a scalar, no, real number. Yes? Okay. Now, at this stage, another example we will take. If vector B is equal to I by root 2 minus j by 2 minus k by 2. Just like that, another vector I have taken. Then magnitude of vector B is equal to, come on, 1 by 2 the whole square minus 1 by 2 the whole square plus minus 1 by 2 the whole square. 1 by 2 plus 1 by 4 plus 1 by 4. Is it root of 1? 1? 1. A. Magnitude is 1, so it has to be unit vector. Correct? No. B is a unit vector. You are not knowing. Just by looking at this, you are not in a position to say whether it is a unit vector or not. You could tell that now after calculation of its magnitude. There are certain vectors you will not be knowing. You thought that unit vector must be only I or j or k. It can be combination of I, j, k also. If there is unit vector along x axis I cap, along y axis j cap, along z axis k cap, if there is a unit vector like this which is inclined to all the three axes, then it will be combination of I, j, k like this, you see. You will come to know that unit vector only after calculation of its magnitude. You understood? Now we will see what you mean by position vector of a point. Position vector of a point. Imagine this, you know that this is a space. This is a point, this is space, and this is a point in the space. How do you fix this point? This space is characterized by x-axis, y-axis, z-axis, correct? Okay. This point is at a distance of 1 meter along x-axis, 1.2 meter along y-axis. Whether the point is fixed? Why not? Along z-axis also you need, because this is also 1 meter and 1.2 meter. This is also 1 meter and 1.2 meter. Instead of fixing a point, you are fixing a line there. You have to fix the point. This is 1 meter, 1.2 meter, 0.5 meter. See, now it is fixed. How you require two coordinates to fix a point in a plane? 1, 2 is a point. First quadrant you say, correct? No? X coordinate is 1, y coordinate is 2. To fix a point in plane, you require two coordinates. To fix a point in space, you require three coordinates. Just now you have seen. If you don't have three coordinates, then you can't fix a point in space. In order to fix a point in space, you require three coordinates, correct? No? X axis, y axis, and then z axis. Three coordinates. So this is a point in space with the coordinates x1, y1, z1. You understood? What do you mean by x1, y1, z1? X coordinate is x1, y coordinate is y1, z coordinate is z1. If you join such a point in the space to the origin of the three coordinate system, you know a point in space can be fixed with the help of three coordinates. Such a point in space, if you join it to the origin, you get a vector, right? Correct? Vector OP you got. Such a vector is called as position vector of a point. So position vector of a point is a vector obtained by joining the point to the origin of the three coordinate system. You understood? What is position vector of P? Position vector of P, position vector of P, x1, y1, z1 is vector OP. Position vector ಹೇಳಿದಕೊಳ್ಳು O ಬರಲೇಬೇಕು, because position vector of a point is a vector obtained by joining the point to the origin. ಯಾವುದೇ position vector, any position vector, if you are getting O it has to start with O. Position vector of C is OC, position vector of D is OD, position vector of E is OE, position vector of M is OM, vector OM, position vector of N is vector ON, position vector of point R is vector OR. Understood? Position vector of a point is a vector obtained by joining the point in the three coordinate system to the origin. That is called as position vector. But any vector can be written as xi plus yj plus zk, no? You know already. What is the component of that vector along x axis, along y axis? You know this is x1, idu y1, this is z1. Correct? No. Yes. x1, if you multiply by I, you will get the x component of this vector. y1 you have, if you multiply by j, it will become y1j, that will become y component of this vector. So as such it will be given by x1i plus y1j plus z1k. Position vector of a point P x1, y1, z1 is vector OP is equal to x1i plus y1j plus z1k. Similarly, imagine you have another point here, vector OQ, point Q with the coordinates x2, y2, z2. Imagine. You understood? Then a vector obtained by joining the point to the origin is called as position vector. Similarly, position vector of Q x2, y2, z2 is vector OQ is equal to x2i plus y2j plus z2k. You understood? Now what you do is you join P and Q. You have joined P and Q. You got vector PQ? Correct? No. Vector PQ you obtained, you see. At the same time you got a triangle. You got a triangle, no? If you get a triangle there, then these three sides of the triangle are represented by vectors. Already. 100% sure, this plus this has to be this. What is that? This plus this equals this. From the figure, what do you find? You tell me. From the figure, come on. Vector OP plus vector PQ is equal to vector OQ, correct? No? This plus this equals this. These are two consecutive sides, you see. Correct? No? Therefore, vector PQ is equal to what do you find? You tell me. Vector OQ minus vector OP. PQ is equal to OQ minus OP. It looks like distributive law. PQ is, you need not go for that. Of course, you obtain this result with the help of the sketch. Without that sketch also you can write. Point P is given, point Q is given in space. How do you form the vector PQ? Formation of vector PQ is OQ minus OP. OQ minus OP. Similarly, vector Mn, it is not there in the sketch. Vector Mn is equal to, come on, ON minus OM. Similarly, vector CD, it is not there in the sketch. Come on, OD minus OC. OD minus OC. Correct? No? Similarly, vector KL, vector KL is equal to, come on, vector OL minus vector OK. OL minus OK. Okay? You have got lot of things to work out there. Like if 3 points, 2, 3, minus 5, 1, 2, minus 3, minus 1, minus 2, minus 1, 4 are the 3 points, 3 vertices of a triangle. They have given these are the 3 vertices of a triangle. Prove that the triangle is right angled triangle. Simple. They have given OA is equal to how much? 2i plus 3j minus 5k, and OB is equal to position vector of that point I plus 2j minus 3k, and OC is equal to how much, you tell me? Minus 2i minus j plus 4k. Correct? Right angle triangle means you must know what is right angle triangle. Right angle triangle means you can always tell that sum of the squares of two sides is equal to square of the third side. Correct? No. Sum of the squares of two sides is equal to square of the third side. So, first of all you find the sides. Find the side AB. AB is equal to OB minus OA. You know how to find out. OB minus OA is this minus this. Minus I minus j plus 2k. Correct? No. Therefore, magnitude of vector AB you find out. Side AB. Side AB is equal to magnitude of vector AB. Root of 1 plus 1 plus 4. That is equal to root of 6. Correct? No. Similarly, you find out side BC. And side AC you find out. Correct? Then you see whether sum of the squares of two sides is equal to square of third side or not. If this is satisfied, then the given 3 points are the vertices of a right angle triangle, equilateral triangle, anything you can do based on this. I hope you got the idea. Okay. Next we will see what you mean by what do you mean by 3 points collinear? A, B, see, imagine these 3 points have to be, it is not collinear right now. 3 points we have to prove that they are collinear. Here it is not collinear. If at all these 3 points have to be collinear, then this point has to fall here. Then this will become A, correct? No? Yes. Correct? So this is given, this is given, this is given. Point A, point B, point C given. You have to prove that these 3 points are collinear. A, they will give 2, minus 3, 1. B, 1, 4, 7. And C, minus 2, minus 1, 7. You have got to prove that, not 7, 1. You have to prove that they are collinear. How do you prove? So for that, what you have got to do, you find out AB. First of all, vector AB you find out. Vector AB is vector OB minus vector OA. You know how to find out. So side AB you find out. Or length AB. Length AB is equal to magnitude of vector AB, correct? That is equal to square root of something. X square plus y square plus z square. Similarly, length BC you find out. Similarly, length AC you find out. Length AC you find out. Understood? Now check whether sum of two lengths is equal to third length or not. If they are collinear, this plus this has to be this, no? Yes. In a triangle that will not happen. If it is a triangle, this plus this equal will not be equal to this. Lengths, sum of two lengths will not be equal to third length if it is a triangle. If the points are collinear, sum of two sides will be equal to the third side. Sum of the squares Allah. Sum of the squares of two sides is square of third side of the right angle triangle. Correct? No. Yes. This is one method. If you find that sum of two lengths is equal to third length, then the given points are collinear. That is one method. Another method is A, B, C are given, no? Correct? Yes. What you do is AB you find out. Then AC, BA you find out, and AC you find out. Understood? Then you find that BA, vector BA is equal to, they are in the same direction, right? Need not be, this and this need not be equal. But definitely it will be K times vector AC. Correct? K times, say for example, these two are not equal, but directions are same. Say this has got a length 1.2 times this. This has got length 1.3 times this. That's what BA is equal to K times AC. Remember, if 3 points are to be collinear in vector language, one vector, if it is K times the other vector, the meaning is the given points are collinear. You understood? One vector is K times the other vector. Out of 3 points, you find 3 vectors. Check whether one vector is K times, say vector AB. Imagine that is equal to, you got 2i plus j plus k, and vector BC you got, imagine 4i plus 2j plus 2k. That is equal to 2 times 2i plus j plus k. That is equal to 2 times vector AB. So BC is equal to vector 2 times vector AB. One vector is K times the other. If this condition is satisfied, you can come to the conclusion that given 3 points are collinear. This is a special condition, vector condition for 3 points to be collinear. We don't go by that method. What is that? Sum of two sides is equal to third side. That's a good old method. ಮದುವೆಗೆ ಹೋಗೋದಾಗಲ್ಲ ಹಾಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಾರ, ಈಗೆಲ್ಲ ಸ್ಟೈಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಹೋಗೋದಲ್ಲ. ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್? ನೋ. ಹಾಗೆ this is the vector style of proving that 3 points are collinear. 3 points in space are collinear. How do you prove? One vector is K times the other vector. While working out problem, it will be still clear. This I am giving just the idea. Understood? No. Now we will say what do you mean by direction cosines. Direction cosines of a vector. Look at the board. X axis, y axis, and this is z axis. Here there is a vector. Imagine this is vector OP. OP. This is vector A. For simplicity, I have taken one end of the vector at the origin, so that analysis becomes easier. Like this, three-dimensional system. I have considered a vector like this, yellow vector. Correct? No? Yellow vector. Correct? No? You find that this vector makes an angle of alpha with respect to x-axis. You can make out here some angle with x-axis, some angle with y-axis, beta. Correct? No? And some angle with the z-axis, gamma. A vector in space has to be inclined with some angle with x-axis, some angle with y-axis, some angle with z-axis. Correct? No? And such angles are called direction angles of the vector. Such angles are called, say this is vector A, no? A is equal to xi, come on, yj plus zk, correct? Then magnitude of vector A is equal to root of, come on, x square plus y square plus z square. I will take it as r. That magnitude, this length is r, like radius, say for example. Alpha, beta and gamma are called direction cosines of the vector. Alpha, beta and gamma are direction cosines, direction angles of A. Cos alpha, cos beta and cos gamma are called what? Direction cosines of A. Direction cosines of vector A. You understood? Cos alpha, cos beta, cos gamma, direction angles you just prefix cos. Take cos function. Cos alpha, cos beta, cos gamma are called as direction cosines, such that cos alpha is equal to xi plus yj plus zk. No, this is a point x comma y comma z. Correct? No. So how do you give cos alpha? You tell me. Adjacent side by hypotenuse. What is adjacent side? You tell me. X by r. Hypotenuse is r. No, that will give cos alpha. Correct? Cos gamma, cos beta is equal to how much? You tell me. Y by r. And cos gamma is equal to how much? You tell me. Z by r. Is it okay? So direction cosines are cos alpha, cos beta, cos gamma, or x by r, y by r and z by r respectively. Okay. Now we will say what is cos square alpha plus cos square beta plus cos square gamma. Cos square alpha plus cos square beta plus cos square gamma is equal to, say r square is equal to how much here? Can you tell me? Come on. X square plus y square plus z square. Cos square alpha, come on. Cos alpha is equal to how much? X by r. X square by r square. Cos square beta, y square by r square. Cos square gamma, z square by r square. That is equal to, come on, x square plus y square plus z square by r square. X square plus y square plus z square is equal to how much? R square. Correct? No, r square by r square is equal to how much? 1. So cos square, therefore always to remember, cos square alpha plus cos square beta plus cos square gamma is equal to 1. Very important. Cos alpha, cos beta, cos gamma are the direction cosines of given vector. Then cos square alpha plus cos square beta plus cos square gamma, sum of the squares of direction cosines of a vector has to be 1. What is that? Sum of the squares of the direction cosines of a given vector has to be 1. Understood? We will take up one example. There are 2 points. Point A is given as 2, minus 1, 3. Point B is given as 1, 4, minus 5. You are supposed to find the direction cosines of vector AB. You have to find out. Question is to find the direction cosines of vector AB. First of all, vector AB is equal to how do you give? Come on, OB minus OA. Correct? No. OB illide. OB. What is OB? You tell me. Vector OB. I plus 4j minus 5k. OA 2I minus j plus 3k. OB minus OA 1 minus 2. Come on. Minus I. 4 plus 1 plus 5j. Correct? No. Minus 5 minus 3. Minus 8k. Okay. Magnitude of vector AB is equal to how much? You tell me. Root of 1 plus 25 plus 64. Correct? No. 64 plus 25 is 89. 89 plus 1 is 90. Root of 90. Correct? No. 3 root 10. No. Correct? Now they are asking you to find out direction. This is R. R. English R. Correct? R. Now direction cosines are cos alpha, cos beta, cos gamma. X by R, Y by R, Z by R, X by R. Come on, X by R. X by R. X is where? Here. X is minus 1 by 3 root 10, comma, 5 by 3 root 10 and minus 8 by 3 root 10. Direction cosines. Say direction cosine is negative here, minus 1 by 3 root 10. It can be. Cos of some angle can be negative, no. Cos alpha can be negative. If alpha is more than 90, cos of more than 90 is negative. Correct? No. Means if the vector, instead of vector here, if the vector is here, imagine, then it will make an angle more than 90. Correct? Okay. So this is very important. One is, if vector A is equal to xi plus yj plus zk, how do you get magnitude of vector A? Root of x square plus y square plus z square. Very important with that sketch. First thing, that one. Second one, position vector of a point. A point in space must be characterized by 3 coordinates. That is a concept. A line of a vector obtained by joining the point in the space to the origin of the 3 coordinate system, that will form the position vector. Point is fixed with the help of a vector. Correct? What is that vector? A vector of joining the point to the origin. Then, how to find the direction cosine of a vector? Any vector. How do you find the direction cosine? Cos alpha, cos beta and cos gamma. While working out problems, it will be still more clear. Okay? All the best.